Good afternoon. Today is May 20th, 2026. Welcome to the Montgomery County Board of Education's special call meeting. I call this meeting to order. We have established a quorum today. May I hear a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
Madam President, I move that we approve the agenda.
I second it.
Dr. Keith, it has been moved in second to approve the agenda as printed. May I see a show of hands for all of those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you. We will now receive his information. First up will be Dr. Lashley, Program Director, Family and Community Solutions Team.
Good morning, Madam President, Vice President, esteemed board members, and Superintendent Dr. Byrd. This morning, I'm sharing with you a job description that was born from the replacement of communities in schools. For the last 3 years, we've had communities in schools that has been funded by grant funding. That funding has now come to an end. And so as we, Superintendent Byrd and all made decision to look at what other services, we want to make sure that we are involving our families. And so this position would be a position that would provide leadership, coordination, and oversight for a comprehensive school-based wraparound service. So in other words, it would be a position that would guide parent liaisons and different ones in the building to engage parents at an earlier proactive measure. It's a problem-solving team that would actually work with families and the students. And so this is where we would shift that service to that. And this position would work collaboratively, of course, with all the leadership teams in the schools, the instructional leadership, the counselors, and all, to provide whatever the special services are that students would need. And so this is what this position is going to bring about. And we're calling this it's going to be the Program Director of Family and Community Solutions.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Lashley, Ms. Cloud?
Dr. Lashley,
Yes,
how
ma'am.
does this coordinate with the parent liaison?
It coordinates with that because this particular person would more or less help to direct that work that's happening at the school-based level. We know that we have them. We know that parent liaisons have been doing work, but we want to be more targeted, if you will. If you go back to one of our main goals that's in the transition report, we talked about school culture and chronic absenteeism, and this position and the duties that it will perform directly aligns with that. And so we want to bring all our other parent liaisons and parent support in line with where we're going with our transition report.
Wouldn't this be more in line of the MTSS director? Because
It will work in collaboration with the MTSS director because MTSS encompasses so much more. You know, there's two sides of that triangle, and you've got academics and you've got behavior. This is going to really impact the student support piece around, you know, the students' absenteeism. Are there any health issues? Are there any other areas that are causing students from not being successful? And of course, this, again, is more proactive. So that means that as we move into the MTSS process, we will have looked at the student from all angles. So it will actually enhance our MTSS process.
so that is going to take the district to the MTSS level, the whole district, looking at it not being just a program, but a system.
It's a system, yes, ma'am, and we are operating on that. I know that there are, you know, differences in that opinion, but that's the expectation even at this point, even outside of this position.
Okay,
Madam
thank you.
President, if I may, I looked at it, and I think it's an asset. But when I looked over it on the accountability part, who does this person answer to? I mean, that wasn't clear for me.
This person is going to answer to the Student Support Services, the executive director, It is a director's position, and so ideally, as you move up your chain of command,
Yeah,
it would
does
be
it
that
say that
person.
though? Because I didn't see where it said that in the job description. Because I know we've rewritten, we have, although I think they're going to be unwritten when we get our new board, but I want to make sure that it's in there.
Yes, ma'am, we
Okay.
will. We'll make sure of that. But
Okay.
that is who it reports to. It's Student Support Services.
Okay. I was just looking at the accountability.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And also too, to add, if I can, Madam President, also this position is already in place because again, a lot of the duties associated with this position was actually being paid for through the Communities and Schools Fund. And so what we're doing is basically, we are combining, these positions, so that again, that position along with this enhanced position can actually address more the needs of our students.
And so the fund source again,
Ma'am.
the fund source
It's
again?
going to be the
Raise Act.
raise
funds.
act.
Raise, it's in.
Okay.
And if you'll notice also, respectfully, Dr. Keith, on that job description, it says here reports to Executive Director of Student Support Services.
I missed it, but thank you.
Thank you so
You
much,
always
Donna.
cover everything. You know I love you, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Lashley, I know MTSS was brought up, but also community. Is this person is going to target, so we're not asking everybody for everything. We're directed in who we ask and how we ask, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that what this position will
Yes,
do?
ma'am. It is,
Okay.
Hey, one other thing on the absentee, I'm sorry,
Hold on just a
okay.
second. Let her finish, please. Were you
No,
finished?
ma'am, I'm saying that if you recall, like I said, the last 3 years, the Communities and Schools position worked a lot with communities and with the students. This position is aimed to outreach, because we're looking to get our families engaged more upfront, more proactively. Community services, whatever it is that we need for families, so it's our students and it's our families.
Right,
And making sure that this position actually guides that work.
thank you.
On the absenteeism, can you be like more specific as to, because, you know, that's a huge problem. And we've talked, well, I brought that up many times.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me, what specifically, you know, when I see this person, what are they doing to help the absentee?
Right. So
issue.
as you know, we have an attendance department.
Right.
We have also done many initiatives in absenteeism with student support services. But now we want to go deeper, where we're going to look at other activities specifically, like we're looking at the data, but how are we making sure that that improves? This person will work in conjunction with what we already have going, making sure that any school-based persons that are working on attendance, that we are looking at the activities that are going on, not just looking at the data results.
And I do want to point out, this has nothing to do with you. I've reminded y'all that we need to look at that policy on absenteeism, that they changed that word "may to will." That is something that we have got to, it will change things if we
Yes.
we look at that.
Agenda for,
Good deal.
retreat,
Awesome,
so make sure.
awesome.
And,
Thank
and
you.
also too,
Okay.
Madam President, and also too, I think it's important to realize as well is that, that when we look at the former position that we had with communities and schools, that grant also allowed us to have communities and schools site coordinators, where we're going to still have those site coordinators, except we're going to actually change the titles, again, because we no longer have that grant. But what we will have is that we will have parent facilitators, and they will actually be fulfilling that same role with community outreach, with addressing attendance, and so those things will still be in place. Yes, yes, ma'am.
And this is from the Raise Act funds,
Yes.
but that's year to year. Are we assured that that's going to still be in place? Because that's from the governor, is that correct?
Yes, well, with all our funds, Ms. Cloud, we seek to build capacity within the people that we have, so that when funds, are not available, as we are doing now, we have to pivot. And so what we do is we maximize our time and our training and all the things that we do when those funds are available, so that, if we perhaps don't get those funds, we'll be able to make decisions, but we'll also not use, the trajectory of the work that has happened,
Right.
as a result of those.
Because
funds.
that amount that you said is 90,000 to 116,000. I just want us to have a more solid fund source that can continue on, because like I said, the Raise Act and now we're getting ready to possibly have another governor, will continue on. I don't want the work to get started and to fall off for us.
Yes, ma'am, and
Thank you.
as we always do, you know, we look at ways that we can continue
work with
to,
what you have now,
it's what we can stop, start, and continue. That's
you.
something that's
That's what-
continuously looked at.
That's what I want to happen.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
our ultimate goal too, if I'll just share from family engagement point of view, is as we train, one of the questions you hear in our communities is, how can I help? As parents and community learn how to help, we are responsible for less positions, because they will be able to carry some of the weight for us. We hire people in these positions and they go into the schools. I'm glad to see this position because then it trains people. Sometimes everybody does not know when we talk about attendance. If we have a child that's absent all the time, have we taken the time to ask that mama, what can I do to help? What, is there anything you need that you're not getting? Maybe we can be a support. So I think this person, I hope that this person will work closely with family engagement, will provide them an opportunity.
And I want to echo what Ms. Porter said, because when you're looking at the background discussion behind it, it is so student, I'm going to say,
Yes.
centered and built around the relationship of the student, which is imperative, which will help with all of the things you said, providing the SEL support, providing mental health support, providing, looking into attendance, addressing behavior. So I just see this as a win-win for the students.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lashley. Next, we will have resolution to declare property surplus. Attorney Powell?
Good morning, Madam President,
Good morning.
Superintendent Byrd, board members. You all have received the resolution to declare the certain properties owned by MPS as surplus properties. That resolution also includes an Exhibit A, which includes a list of the properties as well as their physical location. Those properties have been evaluated by the superintendent and staff to determine the need and whether or not those properties are still needed to support the school's efforts. And so in order to possibly dispose of that property, the board must first declare a resolution and declare that property as surplus property, which means that it is no longer useful for the needs of students. And so that resolution will declare those properties as surplus properties. And then after that, once you guys have declared that resolution, it would give the superintendent the authority to be able to dispose of that property appropriately. Are there any questions about the resolution?
Thank you, Dr. Powell.
Yes,
Oh,
I
I'm
think-
sorry, I'm sorry.
The question I have is what exactly is disposed of properly? And I know that we had discussed, actually out of the finance committee report from last year, we talked about hiring or securing a real estate attorney to help us to determine what we need to do with property and things of that nature. So exactly what does that entail?
Yes, ma'am. So disposal could be the sale of that property. It could be the leasing of that property. It could also be the donation of that property. However, there are certain laws that governs how that process is done. This is the first step to being able to get to the point of determining what is needed. If the property is going to be sold, then there's a possibility to put out information regarding the sale of that property, secure a real estate attorney to assist us with that, and then determine if there are some buyers who are interested in purchasing that property. And so that disposal process consists of that, as well as reporting to the State Department the fact that we have these properties available and that that we are looking to dispose of them. And what that does is it'll give the State Department opportunity to see if there are any other school uses for the properties.
Coleman?
Madam Chair, she answered my question beautifully with the lease statement and the State Department possible future use statement. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney.
Thank
And
you.
I think, Madam President, if I may, I think it's just process. I mean, this starts the process, so I appreciate that.
Yes,
Thank you.
ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will now have some items for consider for approval, Dr. Byrd.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, Superintendent asks for your approval of the Board of Action Items 5A through 5M.
Okay, the superintendent has recommended approval for items 5A through 5M. May I hear a motion?
I want to take them.
Okay,
I mean,
Uh,
one out, I want one out. You know, I don't, we skip that.
to do them separate.
So, Dr. Byrd, for consider for approval, what we need you, we're gonna do it one by one, because it's not consent agenda, just FYI.
Because it didn't say consent. That's why I thought we were going to do one by one.
Did I say consent?
No, but
okay.
it looked, I think you did. That's what bothered me. It just, I mean, it wasn't, it
No,
was
I
just,
didn't.
I didn't mean to.
Okay.
So,
Dr. Byrd, would you revise, please?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President. Board. Superintendent asks for your approval of action item 5A, Director of Strategy and Innovation job description.
Okay, superintendent has made a recommendation to approve item 5A.
Madam
Do I
Pre-
hear any discussion? I'm sorry, a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept item 5A and approve it.
I second.
It has been moved and second. Any discussion for item 5A? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands for all of those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5B, Director of Virtual School Education Technology job description.
Dr. Byrd has made a recommendation for item 5B. May I hear a motion to approve,
Madam
to
Chair.
accept the recommendation? I'm sorry, Dr. Carter.
Thank you. Madam Chair, I move to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5A, Director of Virtual School and Education Technology job description.
Second.
We're on 5B.
I meant 5B.
Okay.
I read it correctly, though.
For the record, she 5B.
Thank
It has
you.
been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5B. Any discussion for this item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands for all of those in favor? It is unanimous.
Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5C, KC K-12 proposal.
The superintendent has made a recommendation to approve item 5C. Casey, may I hear a motion?
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for item C, CASIA K-12 proposal.
I second it.
Thank you. It has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation. Any discussion for this item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor?
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5D, Touch Math Acquisition, also known as ClassWorks Renewal Agreement.
Superintendent has made a recommendation to approve 5D. May I hear a motion to accept this item?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for 5D Touch Math acquisition for ClassWorks renewal agreement.
Very good. It has been moved. May I hear a
I
second?
second.
It has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation. Any discussion for this item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor?
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5E, the incentive plans for Chisholm, Highland Gardens, and Dozier Elementary Schools.
Madam President, I move that we approve item 5E.
It has been moved to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5E. Do I hear a second?
I second.
It has been moved in second. Any discussion for this item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation? It is unanimous.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5F, Chisholm Elementary Schools Innovation Lab.
Madam President, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for item F, Chisholm Elementary Schools Innovation Lab.
I second.
Thank you. It has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item F. Any discussion? No discussion on this item. May I see a show of hands of all those in favor? Thank you.
Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5G, School Counselor Education Specialist Job Description.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for 5G, the Chisholm Elementary's, well, the school counselor, excuse me, education specialist job description.
Thank you. Second for that motion.
I second.
It has been moved in second to accept item 5G by superintendent's recommendation. Any discussion on that item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor? It is unanimous. Dr. Byrd?
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5H, Retired School Counselor Facilitator Job Description.
I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for 5H, the retired school superintendent facilitator job description.
Retired school counselor
Yes, I'm sorry.
facilitator job.
School counselor, sorry.
Thank you.
I second.
It has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item H. Any discussion on that item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5I, purchase of Brutex adjacent property.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for the purchase of Brubaker Technology Magnet High School adjacent property.
It has been
I
moved
second.
in second for that item. Any discussion on this item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5J, the move on when ready policy.
Madam President, I move that we accept item 5J, which is the move on when ready.
And I second.
It has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5J. Any discussion for that item? Hearing no discussion, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor? It is unanimous.
Thank you, Madam President. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5K, which is the personnel report, certified personnel. Also to keep in mind what in those items that have been removed and redacted.
Okay, superintendent has made a recommendation to approve item 5K with the redactions in mind and corrections. May I have a motion for this item?
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel report, certified personnel.
It has been moved. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved in second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel report certified. Is there any discussion, keeping in mind good name and character? So if we need to convene elsewhere, please keep that in mind. Are there any discussions on this matter? Okay, hearing no discussions, may I see a show of hands if all of those are in favor of item 5K? What you got? Okay. Okay. So the motion passes. We have accepted the super. Oh, I'm sorry. May I see a show of hands, all those that are not in favor? Okay. All right, the motion passes.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5L, personnel report, classified personnel.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation for personnel report, classified personnel.
I second.
It has been moved and second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5L. Is there any discussion? Hearing or seeing no discussion on this item, may I see a show of hands of all of those in favor? The vote is unanimous. Any noes? It was unanimous.
It was unanimous.
It was unanimous.
It was unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you. Superintendent requests your approval of action item 5M, supplemental personnel minutes.
Madam Chair, we accept the superintendent's recommendation for item M, supplemental personnel minutes.
I second it.
It has been moved and second to accept the superintendent's recommendation for item 5M, supplemental personnel. Any discussion? Hearing or seeing no discussion, may I see a show of hands if all of those are in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you, ladies. It has again been a pleasure to greet you and meet you and do the work of Montgomery Public Schools. We had and I'm just doing a sidebar, we had a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to see our students graduate. And it's just so fulfilling to see those babies show up. I don't care what the public says about them. They have it wrong. Anytime children show up and put on regalia and go through a line and get what they've earned, they earn our respect. So as you go out this summer, you all watch out for them, keep them safe, congratulate them, cheer them on, and help them make it through. Our next meeting will be right here in this same location, Tuesday, June 6, 2026. June 9th, 2026.
Madam President, well said.
Thank you. It's been a long night. Right here in the training room, 5 p.m. Hope to see you then. Meeting is adjourned.